From IBMTV International Broadcast Media, this is your report from Washington. It's Election Day +3. Biden is leading Trump in Georgia. Biden now has a 917 vote advantage. Thousands of ballots are still left to be counted, with most from counties where Biden was in the lead. On the other side, wait for it, Trump litigates. Trump is looking at a political map in which he will have to get the Supreme Court to set aside votes in 2 or more states. This is radically different from the 2000 election. In 2000, the fight involved a recount as opposed to trying to halt the initial counting of ballots. Judges in Georgia and Michigan quickly dismissed 2 of Trump's lawsuits already. Nevertheless, Trump and his campaign promised even more legal action, making unsubstantiated allegations of election fraud. Trump is used to suing and being sued. A USA Today analysis found that he and his businesses were involved in at least 3,500 state and federal court actions in the 3 decades before he became president. What a mess. Now, control of the Senate now rests in the hands of the voters in Georgia. Georgia could be the site of 2 runoffs on January 5th to settle which party would control the Senate. Should the Democrats win them, Biden would be dealing with the majority in the Senate. In Georgia, 2 runoff elections would mean a campaign on an almost national scale, with tens of millions of dollars spent by both sides. Votes were still being counted to determine whether Ossoff, the Democrat, will face off against Perdue, the Republican, in a second round. Separately, a runoff between Warnock, the Democrat, and Loeffler, a Republican, is also mandated, as Georgia law requires an outright majority to win a statewide office. Nationally, the Senate stands at 48-48. Both sides promised unlimited funds would flow to the campaigns, period. In a further jolt to the economy and our way of life, ESPN, the biggest name in sports media, is cutting 10% of its 5,000-person workforce as it grapples with the effects of the pandemic. To survive in the area of digital streaming, ESPN is making sacrifices, including producing games remotely and saying goodbye to on-camera talent. Next, in a sign of the times, while Americans anxiously wait for the results of the presidential election, anxious Americans have turned to pizza. The CEO of Papa John's tells Bloomberg that pizza sales spiked Tuesday and Wednesday nights, while the LA Times reports alcohol and marijuana deliveries have also been big election winners. In fact, on-demand alcohol delivery service Drizzly reported a 133% and a 110% sales spikes on Tuesday in Washington, D.C. and New York City, respectively, compared to the previous 4 Tuesdays. And now, an important COVID message. The U.S. reported more than 121,000 new coronavirus cases yesterday, which is an all-time high. The previous all-time high was the day before. The country is facing 10 million cumulative cases and 235,000 total deaths. A new forecast from the Centers for Disease Control predicts 31,000 additional American lives could be lost in the next 2.5 weeks alone. Look. While Trump whines and lies and intentionally undermines our nation, over 1,000 more Americans died overnight. Over 10,000 die each night around the globe. I've been reporting on these numbers for months now, and I'm taking this moment to ask that we all just stop arguing for a moment. Stop arguing about the mask. Stop arguing over the polls. Stop arguing over the economy. Stop arguing over freedom. There are over 250,000 Americans who in 10 months can now no longer speak. Nixon thought of the nation when he resigned. Carter worked to save the hostages and thought of the nation when he lost. George H.W. Bush planned the most extensive transition for Clinton when he lost, and a tradition that is now sacrosanct. Mr. President, stop. Just stop. Stop arguing to honor the memories of our dead. Stop fighting the world and help save the living. Stop tearing the nation apart. America deserves better, sir. After all, America gave you and your ancestors a better life when they arrived on boats here as immigrants. Finally, the current COVID death toll from Johns Hopkins is over 234,742 American souls lost, and 1.2,035,742 global souls lost with no vaccine in sight. That is your report for November 5th, 2020 from IBMTV International Broadcast Media. Smart television for a smarter global community, from dictatorships to democracies around the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. I'm Bill Trezevant.